Hey yo, how's it going? It's SixftHax here, happy for y'all today. Team builder for week number 1 of the GBA. So, I don't know if this will be going up like super late on Saturday or like a few hours before the actual battle itself. So, yeah, just whenever you guys see this, I suppose, just say what's up. So, for week 1, we are taking on Nexus and his Pittsburgh Pichus. Now, for GBA team builders, I kind of want to do something a little bit different. I don't know how I'm gonna go about it. First change, as you can see the matchup itself right directly on your screen. So I can talk about the matchup real quick, and then I'll get into the actual mons themselves. I want to say right now, if these are like super long, I apologize, because I kind of like just want to do more in-depth team builders for GBA, because I feel obviously the GBA is quote unquote the main first league, even though it's not what it used to be. I still just kind of want to be like informative, I guess, when it comes to the builders. And typically for team builders, I just kind of go through things really fast. So yeah, I don't know, I guess just watch this first team builder, let me know if you like it or if you don't. I know I used to do super long ones back in the day and people liked them, and then I just cut them a little short. So yeah, I don't know, let me know in the comment section below. Of course, if you guys do enjoy this and you're hyped for week 1, hit that thumbs up button as well. So if you guys may have missed my draft analysis, then you will not know why I have a Mars Shadow. That's really it. My opponent does have Zygarde complete. That's actually Zygarde complete, by the way. So it's Zygarde 50%, but with power construct. So it forms into Zygarde complete. I should probably put that over the regular Zygarde image, but yeah, I'll just worry about it later. So yeah, so his quote-unquote 2 Ubers are Zygarde 50% and Celesteela. Celesteela was technically a tier 2, because I guess it was too good for tier 3, which Celesteela is one of his Zmons, if I'm not mistaken. And then his other Zmon is Mimikyu. Mimikyu is mostly more of what I'm scared of as a Zmon going into this battle. Now, obviously, looking at the team preview here, and just looking at Nexus's team and my team, his team is kind of like the complete opposite of mine. I want to say, like, yeah, we both have like super fat mons. I have Snorlax, Cresselia, Alomomola, Ferrothorn, but my offense is way better than his defense or offense, honestly, going into this battle. For example, Mars Shadow just kind of clicks dual stabs and wins, and I honestly don't expect them to bring Porygon Z. I have Snorlax and Ferrothorn, both of which easily deal with it. Garchomp, Mars Shadow, and Mega Medicham all outspeed it and absolutely violate it. So I really don't expect Porygon Z first off in this game. I also don't expect Gorobus, but I definitely expect everything else on Nexus's team here. The Primarina is super terrifying if he does bring it, because I don't necessarily have the best switch into it, because I'm not bringing Snorlax. So spoilers on that, no Snorlax here. So Primarina could be a little bit annoying. I feel like he's basically forced to bring 2 Pokemon. He's forced to bring Rotom Heat, I think, and he's forced to bring Uxie. Uxie is literally his only Stealth Rocker, along with Rotom Heat being his only way of removal. And if I get crazy with hazard stacking in this battle, then he's really not going to appreciate it whatsoever. So that's what I'm hoping to do in this game. It's just kind of go crazy with my offense. Now, I don't have hazard stacking, but I do have Stealth Rocks, which honestly, Stealth Rocks is going to be more than enough in this battle. Mimikyu late game could be a little bit scary, but we do have good measurements to deal with that. Zygarde complete is probably the main thing, along with Celesteela and Buzzwole. Those 3 are like the main things I'm most concerned about. Scarf Buzzwole, or like super fat Spadef setup Buzzwole, is actually pretty scary to think about. So I'm gonna be a little bit worried about Buzzwole. If he does bring it, I need to figure out what set it is. Celesteela, I figure is probably gonna be autotomized or just be super fat defensively, which if it's super fat defensively, that is a little bit annoying, because between Heavy Slam and Flamethrower, he kind of hits everything, and then he's gonna most likely have Leech Seed and Protect. So Celesteela could be a bit of a nuisance to deal with. And then Zygarde, of course, Zygarde complete is stupidly bulky. Like, it's so absurdly fat. It's really disgusting, honestly. So I definitely expect a fat Zygarde. The only thing with Zygarde, though, is that if it's Dragon Dance, if I keep my Revenge Killer is healthy enough. It's not doing anything. If it's Coil, I just steal his boosts with Marshadow, so I don't really know if he is going to want to bring set up Zygarde. I definitely expect it to come regardless, but is it going to be set up? I doubt it, just because of Marshadow being able to threaten it so easily, and the fact that I could have things like Scarf Garchomp, Scarf Darkrai even potentially. So do not expect Zygarde to be entirely too much of an issue, but if I play incorrectly around it, it could be a bit of a problem. And then looking at some of his defensive mons, Mega Venusaur along with Uxie, I definitely think both of those have a lot of merit to come to this match. As I mentioned, Uxie is only Stealth Rock, or Mega Venusaur, just because it's honestly so disgustingly fat. Unless I boost up with like Darkrai, Gallade, Thundurus, Garchomp, or Marshadow, there's really no way that I'm breaking through Mega Venusaur, so I need to be very careful with that thing because it could be a giant nuisance. I guess the good thing going into this match, I really don't think he's going to have Hidden Power Ice, because he basically needs to have Hidden Power Fire for the Ferrothorn. Even though Giga Drain does still do decent damage to Garchomp, I'd rather take a Giga Drain than a Hidden Power Ice. Synthesis makes a lot of sense. Sludge Bomb, potentially Elite Seed, but definitely Synthesis and Hidden Power Fire, those two are coming, and then either Dual Stab or One Stab and something like Knockoff Elite Seed. I doubt Sleep Powder comes. I don't think Sleep Powder makes the most sense in this game. So I think I've broken down pretty much every mon. Zoroark, so Zoroark is a little bit interesting. I definitely feel like Scarf Zoroark has a lot of merit in this game, just because with me having so many fast mons and Zoroark being able to disguise itself, he may try to bring a Scarf set to hopefully get a surprise KO on something on my squad. So yeah, that's basically all I really think Zoroark's going to do. I don't think it's going to be something like Nasty Plot. I don't think Specs has a lot of merit either. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I covered every single mon. I went over my thought process for every single mon. So with that being said, I think we can jump into our first team member here. So looking at my team again real quickly, as I mentioned, Marshadow just kind of has a field day with Nexus's team, and that's the great thing about Marshadow's amazing dual stab, is that if he doesn't have Porygon Z, which again, I really don't expect Porygon Z, but if Porygon Z does not come, then that means I can just spam Choice Banded, Spectral Thief, and even offensive Zoroark is 2-hit KO'd by offensive Spectral Thief, which is kind of insane if you think about it. Zoroark is indeed a dark type, but of course it is pretty on the frail side, so it's not going to be able to take two Technician, not Technician boosted, well I mean I guess it is Technician if it was base 60, but it's not going to be able to take two stab Spectral Thieves coming from our banded Marshadow here. Close Combat basically hits everything else that Spectral Thief does not hit. Shadow Sneak is just in case I need to Revenge Kill Mimikyu after the disguise is broken, or I need to Revenge Kill Zygarde if I've let it set up a little bit too much, or revenge any potential Scarfers that he may want to bring against me. I don't think he'll bring Gorebyss, so I'm not worried about Shell Smash, so I'm not too concerned about that. Porygon Z, again, I really don't think it comes, and I have measurements for it anyways. So yeah, Shadow Sneak probably could sweep late game, honestly. And then Acrobatics, fun fact, Acrobatics was put on here like literally 2 minutes before I had the actual battle itself, because you can't have Hidden Power Flying on a Marshadow. It needs to have at least 331 IVs, and I didn't know that, but it turns out that Acrobatics still does a disgusting amount to Buzzwole. Plus Acrobatics, even though we do have Choice Band, it's not going to be doubled, but it is going to be boosted by Technician because it is under base 60. So that's actually really good. This still allows Marshadow to potentially OHKO Buzzwole unless it's like physically defensive with like Impish, max HP, max defense EVs, all the whole 9 yards pretty much. Like he's got to be that physically defensive in order to take in Acrobatics. Otherwise, Buzzwole just kind of drops. So yeah, Marshadow can definitely do a lot of work in this game. This, I don't think it 2-hit KOs Venusaur or Celesteela if they're very physically defensive, but I have enough offensive pressure on my team for both Celesteela and the Mega Venusaur to the point where I'm really not even concerned if they are able to take 2 hits from my Marshadow. So yeah, Marshadow is disgusting in this game, and we only really needed enough speed to outspeed Zoroark. If for some reason it's not Scarfed, then it shouldn't be a problem. But if it is scarfed, if we are able to steal a speed boost, then we do outspeed it if it comes down to it. But if anything, I kind of expect Marshadow to kind of come in, just weaken things with Spectral Thief, and then hopefully late game sweep with Shadow Sneak. So moving on to our next team member here, which is going to be The Rock, aka Thunderous. And this set is specifically made to be paired up perfectly well with Marshadow, because the great thing about Thunderous in this match is that there's actually quite a few things I can honestly set up a nasty plot on, and then at +2, Thunderous is going to be absolutely murdering anything in front of it that is not called Mimikyu and that is not, I guess, Scarfed. Even then, Scarf Zorak doesn't one-shot me. I don't think Scarf Rotom Heat one-shots me either. I don't expect Scarf Zygarde. That'd be a little bit odd. Porygon Z, I guess, Scarfed also shouldn't be able to one-shot me. And then Buzzwole, if it's Scarfed, I think it can one-shot me if it has Stone Edge, but if it's locked into Stone Edge, I get a free switch into Marshadow and I just get a kill, so it's not entirely too bad. But yeah, Thunderous is supposed to come in here whenever I can hopefully bring it in for free, or I can get a chance to, and nasty plot, because at +2, a Z Psychic absolutely destroys Mega Venusaur. It's a clean OHKO, doesn't matter what spread it's running, it's gonna die. Z Psychic also hits the Rotom Heat as well, which is super nice, and then everything else I hit with Thunderbolt or hit on Power Ice respectively. So while I don't think Thunderous may sweep late game, the way that I want to play it is that I want to bring it in hopefully mid game to try a nasty plot and then just break his walls down, pick up a KO or two, and then that way maybe Marshadow or my other offense can come in and just kind of pick things off. So we are running enough speed for, I believe, the Zoroark 173 outspeeds Zoroark, which outspeeds everything on his squad that is not Scarfed. And then we didn't really need max special attack. 220 special attack still got every OHKO or 2 KO that essentially Thunderous needed. So that way we could have just a little bit of bulk in our HP investment to maybe take Sludge Bombs just slightly better, or maybe take a hit from Celesteela slightly better. Unless Celesteela has like Stone Edge, then he shouldn't be able to do anything to me, because again, like, defensive Celesteela in this matchup in general is just so good, and if his only way of hitting me is Flamethrower, then that's going to be doing nothing to me, which means I still get a free nasty plot. So as long as I don't poorly play this Thunderous, this should be able to open up a hole for my Marshadow to come in and just kind of wreck him, hopefully. So that's the idea behind this set. So next off, we have Ricky the Garchomp Steamboat here, aka Garchomp, of course. And this set was actually suggested to me by my boy Shuckle King 87. Shouts out to the front office homies, him, Harris, I think Kelly helped me out a little bit as well. I want to say 1 or 2 other people helped me out as well. I may be redoing my front office, honestly, because the guys have been inactive lately, and I need active people to hopefully help me out here build. So yeah, I may be making like a front office video again. I know I made a video like last year, and I got a couple pretty awesome people, and we were able to go strongly for about a couple months. It's only recently that I had to clean it up, and then that the guys got busy. So yeah, I mean, life happens, personal life. I'm not nothing to be upset about, obviously, perfectly understandable. But yeah, I may be doing like a front office video. So if you guys are good in the format, then hey, let me know. So yeah, Life Orb mixed Garchomp here. I know it's a little bit odd to have Jolly Nature with still some special attack investment. Realistically though, I don't want to lower any of my defenses, and obviously I don't want to lower my speed or my attack. The great thing about Garchomp in this match is that this outspeeds the entirety of his team except for Zoroark. Now Garchomp in itself is already a very terrifying mon to deal with, but when it's able to outspeed so many mons, that just means that its offensive prowess can really come to fruition, because with Dual Stab and Fire Blast, everything gets absolutely destroyed. Obviously, I need to be careful on how I use Outrage. I thought about maybe putting Dragon Claw, but it does not do enough to Zygarde, and it doesn't do enough to Buzzwole if I am locked into it. So I figured I might as well bite the bullet. If he doesn't have Primarina, I only have to deal with Celesteela. I don't know if both will come, but at least definitely one or the other. So I will be careful on how exactly I click Outrage with this Garchomp. Obviously, if I see Zygarde, I'm clicking it right away because I don't want it to set up. But this Garchomp, I don't want to say that this kind of functions the same way that Thunderous does, because Garchomp has a bit of a tougher time getting up a Swords Dance on his team. I guess I can get it up on Celesteela, the Mega Venusaur, potentially Uxie if it's not running Foul Play or Hidden Power Ice. Maybe even the Rotom if it's choiced or if I force it out, which is really nice because if I do get up a Swords Dance, and much like Thundurus, this is basically just going to get a kill. I guess the only real thing that doesn't care about me boosting up is Celesteela because obviously I have Fire Blast. Fire Blast is mainly there because it does way more damage to Buzzwole, and while I would like to have Fire Fang does more damage to Celesteela, but not to Buzzwole. I feel like Buzzwole is a much bigger nuisance to my team, because the thing about Buzzwole is that if Buzzwole is not gone, then that means my Marshadow might eventually need to click Acrobatics, which means I lock myself into Acrobatics. So if I can avoid that scenario, I'm going to try and do that, and that's where Fire Blast really helps me out with that, because Fire Blast should still 2-hit KO Buzzwole unless it's like max Spadef, max HP, which even then I think it's a roll after hazard, so that's still really good damage. But regardless, Garchomp with the Life Orb, even without a boost, just because of Life Orb in general, this thing's dual stab is still doing a ridiculous amount of damage to a good majority of Nexus's draft, and that's where we have just so much offensive pressure right now. You've seen the abandoned Marshadow that just comes in and clicks dual stab. You've seen the Thundurus that if given a chance, much like this Garchomp to come in and set up, is just going to absolutely wreck things. And now we have Garchomp here where even if it doesn't set up offensively wise, it's still a really giant issue for Nexus to deal with, and it's very difficult for him to try and switch in to Garchomp essentially. A part of me kind of wanted to go like sub 3 attacks, but Swords Dance is just so good, honestly. I didn't consider Mixed Life Orb until my boy Shekel King mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah, this actually looks really good. And the cool thing about it is that we don't need to go Naive Nature. We can honestly just go Jolly and put the 44 in special attack, and Fire Blast is still doing a really good chunk of damage to Celesteela and the Buzzwole respectively. So it doesn't really matter what defensive mon outside, I guess Uxie. I guess Uxie does force me to click Outrage, but I mean we have switch-ins to Uxie, so I can hopefully avoid that scenario. But Garchomp should definitely be able to put in a lot of work here. I think this along with Thundurus is probably going to put in the most work, because then hopefully Marshadow can come in late game and just Shadow Sneak to victory. So moving on to our next team member here is just another breaker, honestly. Like, Nexus does have a lot of fat mons, but he also has slow mons, which means my offense can take full advantage of that, as I can bring Modest Darkrai instead of having to bring something like Timid Darkrai. I think originally I was Life Orb, but Extra Belted was brought up to me. Extra Belt still actually gets all the KOs that Life Orb does, and it allows me to potentially bluff a Choice Scarf set or just a Choice set in general on this Darkrai, because we are Modest. He may not be thinking to Calc Modest. When he's running Calcs, he'll probably think that we're just timid, so he may not consider Modest. So in that sense, we can maybe bluff being Choice Specs and then surprise something on a KO. Between Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Psychic, we literally hit everything for neutral or super effective damage, which is why Extra Belt is so good. I guess the only downside is that I don't hit Rotom Heat super effectively, but if I get Rocks up, I'm still Modest. I can still 2-hit KO Rotom Heat, which is actually disgusting because of Darkrai's base 135 special attack stat. This thing actually just does so much ridiculous damage. This can OHKO Zygarde if it's not bulky. This 2-hit KO Celesteela. It 2-hit KOs Venusaur. It can 2-hit KO Buzzwole, Uxie. This basically 2-hit KOs everything and anything, which is absurd. So yeah, we have a lot of good offense. We have a good offensive core here. We have our Modest Darkrai, we have our Life Orb Garchomp, we have our Nasty Plot Psyche MZ Thundurus, and then we have Marshadow just to round it off, because if my 3 offensive mons here pressure him enough, I eventually just come in with Marshadow late game and click Shadow Sneak to win. So that's kind of my game plan, is to hope that my offense here pressures Nexus enough to where I can just safely come in, click Shadow Sneak, and have a clean victory from there. So moving on to our bit of defensive backbone in this game. First off, we have Mixed Defensive Ferrothorn here. Realistically, I didn't need to max out any one stat. just because fire moves are still going to be doing a decent chunk of damage to Ferrothorn from whatever can learn a fire move, and I'd rather have the physical defense in case I need to switch in to a potential banded Zygarde, which he could be choice banded Zygarde. I could maybe see that coming since we don't necessarily have the best switch into ground moves, although we do have Cresselia as well, which I think should actually eat any hit from banded Zygarde. So I don't know, banded Zygarde makes some sense. I think if it's Dragon Dance, it shouldn't be too problematic either, so I'm not really concerned about that. With Stealth Rocks, of course, Stealth Rocks are going to be amazing to chip down his walls. Leech Seed, once Venusaur is gone, which I really feel like I can pressure Venusaur enough. Once Venusaur is gone, I just kind of spam Leech Seed for free, which is amazing. Power Whip, I felt, was really the only stab that we needed, while Gyro Ball, yes, would have been nice. I think being able to Thunder Wave things like Celesteela, Buzzwole, Zoroark, Venusaur, Primarina, even Mimikyu or Porygon Z is just so good in this game, and I'm not realistically clicking Gyro Ball on anything. I guess I Gyro Ball Venusaur and like Dragon Dance Zygarde, but again, setup Zygarde just seems so iffy to me in this game because of Marshadow and the fact that, again, I can run like Scarf Garchomp if I really wanted to, or even Scarf Darkrai. So I don't expect a Dragon Dance Zygarde, but besides that, this set is just basically here to pivot, get up rocks, and just let my offense hopefully come in and wreck everything, basically. So yeah, Thunder Wave also is just really nice for any type of Scarfer that he may have as well. So hey, shouts out to that. So moving on to our final team member here, we have Trish, aka Comfy. This was originally going to be Snorlax. Unfortunately though, Snorlax kind of lost me more than it really gained me. Unlike Ferrothorn, Snorlax wouldn't have really been able to do too much on the supportive side, I guess. Like, Snorlax would have allowed me to have a decent switch in to some of his offensive mons, but ultimately I would lose much more momentum by having Snorlax in this slot. At least by having Comfy, one, this helps me against Buzzwole, Scarf Buzzwole mainly, or Scarf Zoroark, even Dragon Dance Zygarde, because with Triage, I have Priority Draining Kiss. All three of those are hit for super effective damage, which is amazing. So that's really good in itself. It also gets access to U-Turn, so this could give me free momentum to potentially bring in Darkrai, Marshadow, or Thundurus. Maybe Garchomp, but probably the first three. Like, I don't really want to bring in Garchomp too often because we do have Life Orb, so I am gonna need to be careful with Garchomp. But U-Turn allows us to bring in our offensive threats and just start applying pressure. This set can still pivot in really effectively, honestly, because whenever I switch in, I have priority recover again, so I can recover out of range of being able to potentially be O-code, and then I put myself in like a 2-hit kill range, and I just keep going from there. And eventually U-Turn. Taunt is really good for Celesteela and Mega Venusaur because this stops Celesteela from setting up or leech seeding, and this stops Mega Venusaur from recovering or leech seeding, sleep powdering, things along those lines. Now, yes, this set obviously does nothing to Celesteela or the Mega Venusaur, but again, that's where Taunt is just so good, because those mons are nuisances to Comfy. Celesteela mostly because he can't use it as setup fodder, but we are running enough speed to outspeed a timid Celesteela if it really comes down to it, so we can taunt it, stop him from setting up potentially, and then U-turn now into something to deal with it or sack something off, and then I bring in one of my offensive mons and I just get a kill. As for Mega Venusaur, taunting it and stopping it from going for synthesis, I think is going to be very, very important, because if I'm not able to nasty plot with my Thundurus, I still have enough offensive pressure to at least try to guarantee that Mega Venusaur will be roughly around 50% HP. So if he does think that he can safely synthesis on my Comfy, then I'm going to go straight for the taunt and stop him from doing that, and then I know he's going to go for an offensive move or he's going to try and switch out. So then I can also take advantage of that fact and go from there. So with the mixed defenses here, this is just so we can take Sludge Bombs from Zoroark very easily, and potential Poison Jabs from Buzzwole, as well as Sludge Bombs from the Mega Venusaur. I really wanted to have a good amount of Spadef, but if I needed to, I'm going to need to take a physical hit most likely, I think, so I want to have a good amount of physical defense as well. And again, because of our priority recovery, I didn't really feel like Leftovers had much merit. I really feel like Kabaya Berry can come in handy or come in really clutch potentially if it comes down to it. So yeah, super excited to use Comfy. I don't really know how well it's gonna do over Snorlax, but I'm hoping that it can just come in handy. If anything, I just hope I can U-turn out with it so I can bring in my offensive core of Darkrai, not Garchomp, but maybe Garchomp, Thundurus, and Marshadow here. And then of course we have Ferrothorn to pair up with our Comfey here. So yeah guys, that was the team builder. It was a little bit lengthy, but as I said, like I really just kind of wanted to go more in depth with these GBA team builders. Again, let me know if you like this, or let me know if you kind of just like the quick ones that I keep under like 20 minutes or so, like 10-20 minutes. If you do, that's fine. I can get back to those, but I feel like with this I can kind of like explain, like, yeah, like I have my offensive core right here. You could also throw in Marshadow there, but I feel like Marshadow is more, Marshadow basically can just function on its own. Like it doesn't really need the support of these 3 offensive mons in general, but it does appreciate the fact that these 3 offensive mons are able to just pressure any and every of Nexus's walls. So that way it makes the job easier for Marshadow to come in here and just win. And then we have 2 nice pivot mons in Ferrothorn in Comfey, because if he doesn't have any fire moves, then he's not going to be breaking through Ferrothorn. And then Comfey being so speedy, I'll prioritize his offensive mons to hit them super effectively. That's going to be amazing because Draining Kiss obviously is super effective on a good majority of his offense. And then we have U-turn for momentum. We have Taunt to stop potential setup. And then, of course, Synthesis for recovery in general. Then Leech Seed spam. Thunder Wave is also just really good on Ferrothorn to support our offensive threats here. So, yeah, guys, we have a really offensive squad here. Nice 2 defensive mons right here as well. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of our squad, what you think about this more in-depth team builder process. And with that being said, I will see you all on Sunday at 3 p.m. with the actual battle itself. So thank you all for watching. Later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.